No. Hi all. Druss here again, and I see I have one viewer, so thank you very much for joining me. My typically, as usual, I haven't figured out a setup yet for being able to view chat and views at the same time, so I'm still using my phone, which is really not ideal, but doing my best. And if you can just let me know in the chat who it is, I'd really appreciate it, so I know who I'm talking to. Again, it's junk, because trying to use my phone is a nightmare at the same time. I did try and use my old iPad. The iPad is too old to have Twitch on it. It just won't let me download it, which is ridiculous, but that's the way it goes. If I find out who's chatting to me, or who's viewing me, I can know what to do if I need to show you around or anything, because you may not have seen the world before. Then again, you may have, depending on who you are. So again, I'd really appreciate it if you let me know who it is. I can then, I suppose, edit what I'm doing to display a little more, Okay, so anyway, to begin, in the last 2 or 3 streams, we've been doing the interiors of this house here, which is a middle class or an upper class townhouse. It's on the town square, which is a work in progress, and we are going to continue doing the interiors of this house, so we'll carry on with that. So far we've got the sitting room done. Again, the interiors aren't absolutely the best I've ever done. I'm trying to keep the stream interesting, so the interiors are being done a little bit more quickly than I would typically take. So here's the dining room. We have the kitchen, which is again adequate. We have an oven with some bread in it. Just basic kitchen stuff that you typically see in Conquest. A little water closet for going to the toilet, and then we have done, in the last quick stream, which was not quite a disaster, but it didn't go quite as planned because of personal reasons, we've done the wine cellar. So again, it's all right, I suppose, not again ideal. So today I'm going to try and focus on doing the storage area here as you come down the stairs to the cellar, and doing the secondary kitchen slash servants quarters, which is going to be here in this room. And again, if you do have the ability to just drop me a line on the chat and let me know who it is, I'd really appreciate it. So I suppose start with the small things. So this is a storage area. We can do some lighting first, I suppose, would make sense. And some lighting just as you come down the stairs, I think, is probably a sensible thing to do. So what we'll do is we'll use a capital block if it doesn't look too imposing as you come down the stairs. I don't think it does, but we'll see. So we need some lighting. And again, if you let me know who you are, I'll be able to tailor the stream just to let in case you're not familiar with Conquest. Some people very much are, and they will be familiar with things like the block wheel and just all the different sorts of blocks and the layout of Conquest in and of itself. So again, would really appreciate just if you can let me know who it is. So lighting there, we'll have an additional light. Oops, we'll have an additional light here, and that's just to light this corner in here. I don't think that looks particularly well, so what we're going to do is we're going to delete that. We'll get rid of this beam here, I think, and that's better. And it will also give more light in at the back area here. So just light it up out the debug stick, and we shall continue. Right, so this here, this little alcove, I think it makes sense that we're just going to have some simple stuff. We're going to have crates, that sort of thing, and here we can have a table or something along those lines. So we'll give that a try first, I suppose. Let's get the furniture out. Now we can have it facing one of two ways. We can have it facing there as we come down the stairs, or we can have it facing into the side. I'm inclined to put it into the side. We have a natural little dip in here, another little alcove. So I think that would be the best to do. Now, if you just bear with me for 1 second, I'm just going to restart the app on my phone, because, as I said, it's a disaster, and I can't tell anything really with the actual stream because the phone is just, it's a really terrible solution to my problems. So, we have 2 viewers now, so again, please do, if you can just drop me a line in the chat, because it's actually it's really ridiculous. I don't know who's viewing me or not, and I really don't like that. I think it's terrible of me not to be able to talk to you directly. Okay, so possibly a little chair there, and we can have some form of storage here. Maybe a box there for storing God knows what. It could be anything. And again, sometimes less is more. Sometimes I'm inclined to just leave some gaps in the actual the area, you know, but in this case I don't think I will. Let me see. There's nothing really appropriate to go on this space here. I could do something like an inkwell and paper, but it doesn't really suit it. Maybe something in the victory mod category will suit it better. Oh, hello Vince, thank you very much. I appreciate your coming on. I'm not entirely sure who else is here. I think there's 2 viewers at the moment. Again, it's impossible for me to tell. This really is 3 viewers. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me. Just to let you know, Vince, I'm going to give you a quick whiz around the town, just so you can see it. But just before we do that, I'm going to do something else here. Maybe just a little victory mod decoration or something that will be appropriate to the actual where it is. So maybe just a pour cup or something there. That suits me there, because it's subtle, it's nice, it indicates someone's sitting down and having a drink. Okay, so again, really would appreciate some interaction. Okay, so Vince, you have not seen my town before. This project is by myself. It began with myself, and I was joined by a very good friend of mine, Scout, who is now helping me, and it's now a joint project. It's no longer just mine. Scout is an equal partner, and has contributed just as much, if not more, at this point to me. So it's a world called Tirna Druss, which means country of Druss in Irish, and it began very simply. It began with me just playing around with Conquest 1.16 blocks. Conquest 1.15 and 1.16 doubled the amount of blocks available from the 1.12 version. So we went from around 6,000 blocks to around 12,000 blocks. Kat, hello and welcome aboard. Absolutely amazing to have you. Really hope you're well. I'm just showing, I'm not sure you've jumped on a stream before either, Kat, so you're probably not familiar with this, but it's just a project by myself and Scout, and it's a little town we're building. It will be imported to Darwin when Darwin moves to 1.16 is the intention. It's a small little medieval town at the moment, but the entire world itself is going to be far bigger. It's going to have lots more fantasy things. I didn't see you, Kat. I'm delighted you can join me, Kat. Thank you very much for letting me know you're here. As you can see, 1.16 is really extraordinary. The level of detail we can achieve in 1.16 is far, far greater than 1.12, and as people who play Conquest know, it's in and of itself, Conquest is a far, far more capable tool for building creatively than vanilla Minecraft. So this is the town. I built pretty much up to here myself. Scout did that bakery there, and it's been absolutely fun to do, but it's a very slow progress because we both want to have the absolute maximum level of. Thank you very much, Kat. The stream is a bit laggy. It stops every few seconds. That could just be me, Kat, because I have a tendency to stop and moving when I'm talking because I'm an old man who can't do two things at once. And I'm also terrible at streaming. I'm completely new to it. But if there is lagginess, I do apologise. It could be just me or it could be something technical. This is the town square that myself and this is my kind of part of the project currently. I want the town square to be completely enclosed, so when you come into the town square you won't have any of this view of the horizon. You'll get a claustrophobic feel, and in the end the town square is going to be full of market stalls and that sort of thing. Now here's the clock tower, and if you go through the clock tower it will take you down to what is Scout's area. And my voice stops too, so then it's definitely a lag, and I do apologise about that, Kat. I'll look into it. It's possibly from my end, but I honestly don't know. So this is Scout's area, and Scout has done pretty much the entire thing here. It's the waterfront area, which is going to be a lot poorer than the town square, but looks really, really magnificent. She's done a fantastic job in the place, so yeah, that's where we're at there. And she is really ploughing ahead a lot more quickly than myself. She's even done the layout for a lot more buildings than I'm doing. Like, she's building 3 buildings for every one of mine, so yeah, she's doing far, far better. So anyway, let's get back to this building and do the interiors. We've done the sitting room, the kitchen, and the dining room so far, and the wine cellar. Oh yeah, that's okay. So at the moment we have to do this little area here. This shouldn't take too long because I don't intend to do too much complicated here. Filthy, hello, and thank you for joining me and joining us, should I say. I appreciate it greatly. Filthy, you're familiar with Conquest, so there's no real point in showing you things, but I am utilising, for anyone who doesn't know, Filthy is actually the creator of the mod pack that has all these wonderful blocks, and it's just utterly incredible, and they all have multiple block states, which means they can be used slightly differently, and it makes the immersion levels a million times better than any build. So thank you, Filthy. Kat, I understand fully It might take a while for us to upgrade Darwin because of the fact that SpongeForge hasn't a stable release for 1.16 yet for modded Minecraft, and as well as that, we need other mods like Plot Squared and that sort of thing to also upgrade to 1.16 for modded, and that's just taking forever. We can't force that, so unfortunately, it's terrible. We all want to move to 1.16. It's just we're being held up by forces outside our control essentially, and it's yeah, it sucks. It really does. So we're going to throw, just as I said, this is not going to be anything too complicated. It's a storage area. It's a kind of just a little place where people will fire things into house, almost like under a stairs. Well, under a stairs in my house, and we can just throw in a few different blocks to indicate that it's just a temporary storage area really as such. If I'm talking too quickly or I'm not really eligible, let me know, because I know my accent is probably throwing to a few people, and also the fact that you have a new mod coming out too soon, Filthy. Well, I'm intrigued. I would love to know what that is. Maybe, well, like I'm patient and I can wait for it, but I'm very, very curious as to what that is. Just throw a bucket here. Perhaps something like that, and we can have that there. No, I don't like that there at all. We need something a little bit different, maybe that there. Oh, please, I appreciate it, and Filthy, I will keep it to myself. I will keep it confidential. I would never presume to let the cat out of the bag as such with regards to somebody else's mods, particularly if it's a private thing. Let me see. Here we can have, I think that there, and something a little bit more, a little bit smaller. Let me see. Tool blocks. Tools can often be useful for this sort of thing, but for example, I would have brooms and pitchforks, but I would have them here. The reason I have the brooms here is they need to be convenient. There's no point for someone, they're not going to have them all the way back here when they can just grab a broom there. So it makes sense for the brooms to be there, I feel, personally. Would it be too much to ask? I've just done one, Filthy, but I shall do one for you again. Now, again, I'm running, just so that everyone is aware, I'm running on a laptop that's a couple of years old now. Now, back in the day, it was a fairly decent laptop. It does have a GPU, so I can run relatively smoothly. But and I can run shaders as well, but not while playing fully. The frame rate just keeps on dropping, and it's unfortunately it's not just that feasible. My dream is to own a really good gaming computer, but until those days come, and I have a million other things to, unfortunately, with my house and that sort of thing, that will take priority over my own enjoyment. So that's that. So anyway, Filthy, here is the town. The concept for this is, well, to begin, it wasn't meant to be a project. I've said that to everyone, and it's the truth. I began by building this house here, just playing around with the 1.16 blocks, and then I built this house here that was inspired by Novigrad and The Witcher 3, and then I just was playing about it a bit more, and all of a sudden it kind of snowballed. I started placing houses beside each other, and it just became a new project. And it's going to be part of the world that I began in Darwin, called Tir na Druss, which means Tir is country in Irish, so country of Druss. Ultimately, I kind of want this to be a big fantasy world, with kind of a medieval fantasy world with, dwarf strongholds and elf cities and hideaways and orc encampments and all sorts of kind of fantasy vibes that I kind of grew up on reading in Dungeons and Dragons and all sorts of things. But this will be a kind of a late medieval city. There's no real time frame, but I kind of envisage it to be the 1600s, early 1600s maybe, but there's nothing too concrete in it. So that's that. So I was joined then by my really good friend Scout, who's a wonderful builder, was a mod on Darwin, and because she lives in England, she is capable of coming on at the kind of same time as me, and we can kind of build together. So she's done about half the builds in this. I've done about half. This section here is the earlier side of things, so this was mostly myself, and excuse me, forgive me yawning. So this was again just me mostly experimenting with new 1.16 blocks, but this here was a third person who came on board to join us and then kind of dropped off. We're not sure where they are now, so I don't want to go and say who it is. A lot of people will be familiar with it. So the street, well, it goes down here to the town square. The town square itself is going to be a kind of a richer area, obviously because it's a central area in the town. It's very flat and very empty at the moment. It will be layered up a lot more, a little bit more worn in places, and it will be covered. We're going to have a market day, so there will be lots of stalls and hustle and bustle. But I want to finish off the buildings around it first. This building here was built by that third person. It's gorgeous, and we're not sure though it's going to. Very good. Bricks, hello. How's it going? So I'm not sure. Depending on whether they return, we'll decide whether we're going to keep the building anyway because it's magnificent. It was built initially by Scout and then kind of modified by the other person and improved upon. I suppose it was a synergy. So they both worked on it and it turned out well, but it might not fit quite with the kind of the style of the square. So we may keep it, we may not. We'll certainly keep the building, but possibly, depending on the third person, whether they are okay with it, might become a manor building of its own with kind of... Did you break any of the rules by any chance? No? Oh, Filthy. I assume that's you're talking to Filthy there, Bricks. So, yeah, no. So the style of the building is that. So this is the richer area, and it will give way to a slightly poorer area, Filthy, over here. This is entirely built by Scout. My only contribution is this monstrosity here of a crane. So this bridge is a customs bridge that river traffic will stop by and pay excise on their cargoes that they're carrying. And so this is a customs building, and again all fully furnished. And Scout has, as I said, has been doing the kind of poorer area by the waterfront, and doing a very, very good job as well, as you would expect from Scout. If you don't know Scout, Filthy, she is a fantastic builder. So that's where we're at. It will eventually, as I said, be a far bigger town. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take. So yeah, no, that's where we're at. So as I said, this building here, I have a particularly for the folks who haven't joined me before, maybe Filthy and that sort of thing. I know that lots of people can do a shell of a building, and then they can do another shell, and eventually they go back and they are able to decorate them internally and stuff. I can't, but my mind just isn't that way inclined, and I have to, when I build something, I have to finish it inside and out before I move on to the next building. So that's where we're at here. And in this building, I've done I've been streaming it as I do it. So we did this little small sitting room, and dining room and this kitchen here. And then in the last stream, it was only meant to be a very short one. I had intended to get more done, so I got this wine cellar done. But just as I began, my young daughter came in, having cut her shin on a rusty nail because she was climbing somewhere she shouldn't have been. She's a bit of she's a girl who at a very she's my youngest, and she's a girl who at a very young age realized it was easier to ask for forgiveness and permission. So she will typically just go plow ahead and do things, and then if she gets in trouble for it later, so be it. But she tends to get herself into bits of scrapes and that sort of thing, and that it was just one of those cases where she managed to cut her knee quite bad, or her shin quite badly, on a rusty nail. So I had to go and swab it with alcohol gel and stuff, just to prevent tetanus or blood poisoning, or just to preventively do that, you know. Wicker basket. No, I'm not. So anyway, here we are back at this. Apologies. Again, my own streaming abilities are only developing, so I tend to rabbit on, and it's that will do. That's nice. Well, it's adequate. I tend to rabbit on and then get distracted by my own talking and my own stream of consciousness. So we can do maybe one or two things here, and then that will be enough. I don't want it too cluttered. It's relatively cluttered there anyway, but thank you very much, Filthy. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, it is. It's slowly coming together. I'm very, very slow because the buildings I'm building are something that is new to me. Prior to this, I've always built kind of your traditional Tudor medieval, and one or two people who are on Darwin will probably be familiar with my own builds, Druss and that sort of thing, and it's very, very bog standard. It's there's nothing too fantastic or advanced about it. So all these new buildings on the square, it is a useful skill. All the buildings on the square, were a lot of them were kind of inspired by the likes of Novigrad in Witcher 3, where I wanted them to be a bit wealthier, and I wanted to move away slightly from the Tudor feel and do more kind of stone-based facades, and so that's where we were at with that. So okay, that's that done, relatively speaking. And so now we're into the servants' quarters / a kind of a secondary kitchen for just storage for above upstairs. Now this comes out onto this door here is on a lower level than the square. We're one level down because of the natural slope, the inclination of the actual landscape. So number one, I had intended initially to actually have a stairs above into the kitchen, but it didn't really fit. There was nowhere really to accommodate that, so I'm happy enough not to have one. The other thing was the idea was to maybe do this in 2 rooms, but again, I don't want to overcomplicate things, and to do 2 rooms, then I'm looking at, I would have really needed a longer hallway maybe to do that, and it's just awkward. So let's just keep it simple. Sorry, I'm just after getting a text off Scout. I appreciate the fact I kind of knew that you'd be at work, and I was kind of hesitant almost to stream because you were at work, but it's just unfortunate this is the only time I can manage it today. I have a lot of other stuff to do myself today, unfortunately, in real life. So that's unfortunately just that. So let's get going anyway on the servants' quarters. So I think that what we'll need is maybe a little small dining area, and this seems to be the area for it because we have a kind of a bay window area here. Well, it's not a bay window, but it's a bay. So we can we can do that there, and I'm going to just have a 6 wide table, which should be plenty of room for that, and just some basic benches again, for just nothing too fancy here. It's not meant to be anything too advanced. It's 5 p.m. Where, Bricks? You're in Canada, I think, is it? Maybe I'm completely wrong. I thought that all my transatlantic friends would be asleep at this hour, but I could be, as I said, I could be completely wrong. Okay, so if that's there, what we need is a small kitchen area over here, for them to think, and maybe some storage here, or maybe a little recreational area or something. I'm not entirely sure yet how we're going to manage this, because to be honest with you, this entire cellar was almost an afterthought. It was only put in because I had a bit of space underneath the house, and I felt it made sense to have something rather than have just a wall down to there and this here being the last level. It just made sense to utilize the blank space underneath the house. So that's where we're at there. Okay, so firstly, if we're doing a table, we may as well do some food on it. That can go there, and I think that looks well there. In honor of my good friend Filthy, we shall do some victory mod food as well, I think. Chops and stores. What do we have here? A teapot set. That would look well, I feel. Oh, I think we can change that. There, that's ideal. That's lovely. Oh, you're in the Philippines, Bricks. That's incredible. Somewhere I've always wanted to visit, but in all likelihood, I think in this lifetime, unfortunately, I won't. Just in terms of my days of traveling extensively are unfortunately over. Not through any physical ailment, but through financial constraints, given that I would have to drag my kids along with me, and also, well, not drag my wife, but my wife would also obviously have to come. So that's 5 times, if not greater, the cost. So if you ever have any pictures of the Philippines or anything like that, Bricks, please throw them on my Discord. I would love to see them. So yeah, so that maybe a plate, and that will sort out that, and that hopefully won't be too cluttered, but it will be just right. A wood plate, because it's the servants' quarters. There we go. Now, so this area here is we can have a small little fireplace. It's not going to be anything too big again. It doesn't need to be too big. It's not going to be for cooking. It's only going to be for warmth. So we shall do something there. And again, servants' quarters, nothing too fancy in terms of the brick that's being used. Now, just that's the... Oh, okay, hold on. I think that's the outside though. Yeah, so we can't really use too much space, but we will use what we can. So, what can we have? I do like the grey Wacko brick. I think this had a different name. This was called Dark Mortar or something in 1.12. And I'm still kind of used to calling it from those days. Can I use this here? I can. That's ideal. But I can't here because that's facing... Oh no. I think I can. I'll get away with that there. And I can obviously get away with it here on the base. And that will do to begin. It's a start. I've often said before on the fireplaces, I'm not by any means an expert. Went to the beach last Saturday. I've been to the Philippines. I went to Boracay. I don't know how to spell beautiful place. I have no doubt the Philippines are gorgeous. Now, I will also say that I absolutely adore. I suppose everyone loves where they live. It's only natural. I One of the reasons I'm actually fairly okay not doing much traveling anymore is owing to the fact that I happen to live in a very beautiful place. I'm very lucky. The rural countryside in Ireland is fairly spectacular when it's not raining. Unfortunately, it rains pretty much 365 days a year, so I'm talking through my backside because it's we are perpetually raining. Now this is not, no, that clearly won't do at all. Let's see what we can do. The grey wackle. Again, apologies as I meander through a build here. I'm just trying to see what fits really. I quite like that. It's relatively okay. And what I could do is I could put the Raukal in on top, and we can have a border with using some quarter blocks or something. Razor, hello. Average British Oz experience, yes. Razor, I understand that, but as well, I always feel that we Irish get the brunt of the Atlantic weather before you get the remnants of it. If you're over in the UK. But then, that being said, yeah, the UK is gorgeous. Now, I'm going to... I think I'm going to try and take this out a bit. It's not by any means finished. So what we'll do is we shall try a dark cobble. And if it was here... No, 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 and no. I am absolutely horrifically bad at doing fireplaces. I despise them. I had a very clever trick that Etherai. Why not both working and in bed? Well, absolutely. There are obviously, if you can make money when you're in bed, so much the better, and also have fun when you're doing it. I think that's the goal for most people. Well, not most people, but certainly if you can do it, why not? Let me see. I had a very clever... I had other people build my fireplaces when I was on Darwin, because they're just so much better at it than I am. I wonder. That's almost like a column block, and no, 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 and no. Again, I'm going to end up agonizing over this for far too long, and it's the one thing I wanted to avoid on a stream, because it's just me. That's just my own way of doing things. Unfortunately, limestone brick. If we put that, no, again. Literally me right now. Yeah, bricks, well for you, I suppose. As I said, I would dearly love to be. Unfortunately, I have to be places later on and that sort of thing. I have to go and collect kids from school, and I've got to get their dinners ready and all sorts of things. So it's just going to be one of those days for me. Now, I wonder... if I was to put this here and possibly put a... No, that's clearly not what I was meant to do. Being careless as always. No, that looks terrible as well because of the fact that we have a corner. I'm half inclined to just come back to this later because I don't want you getting bored by me agonizing over a fireplace, so we'll shelve that just for the moment, because really I can't. It'll take me forever, and I please don't. Yeah, absolutely. I understand the vertical slabs on the sides, and I tend to, yeah, you can do that fairly handily, obviously. It's just that, unfortunately, Razor, one of my biggest issues is that I just tend to hate my own builds, and it's I everything I do, I tend to say no, I'm not happy with that, I'm not happy with that, and yeah, that's just, unfortunately, that's the way I operate with my own it's just unfortunate. It's the way I usually typically feel about my own stuff. So it is. As I said, no, I'm going to just come back to that later. We'll work on something else. So let's work on the fact that this is a secondary kitchen, as I have mentioned. So what we're going to need is storage. Luckily, being in a cellar, we should have plenty of room for that. So we can put storage in. We should be able to do, hopefully, a dresser, let's say here. And again, you have lots of, as I said, almost not dead space, but we've lots of space below for that. So we can do, let me see, we'll have some wood planks for the dresser, and that could do as the back. We'll see if we have enough space here for it. So let me see, and what we'll do is we'll use the cupboard blocks, I think, for the base, and something like those lines. And of course, if we can do it properly, it would also help. And we'll bring them one forward or two forward, just to bring them out from the wall a bit, just to give a bit of depth to the furniture. Now, the issue I have here is that we can put walls on it on the inside, but then we are going to limit what we have here. So I'm disinclined to do that. Immediate backseat to fire. Yeah, absolutely. So what we can do here is we could have shelving at the back here, perhaps. And shelving here, and not shelving here. What we'll do is, what I really would like to do is have some things. You see, the trouble is this is almost identical. F3 and then F3. Ah, God Almighty, Paddy. Druss. Okay, so now you all know my real name. Yeah, that's unfortunately, it's almost identical to that, and I don't want it to be identical to that. So let's change it up, and we shall see. We can have maybe drawers at the back and things hanging from them. No, that doesn't work either. What we use our plate block, our good old Victory Mod plate blocks.